how to get your ATF Type 54 license. Okay, I'll tell you about my experience. All right, I searched the internet and I couldn't find any videos about anybody talking you through the process. So I thought I'd tell you about my particular experiences. Basically, I just did searches on the internet on what you needed to do. I did find one particular gentleman. You could send him a nominal fee, and he would send you a couple of DVDs about the process, walk you through the application, and give you all the information you need to do that. I did some searches for forms and things like that and came up with a lot of information. I actually live in Michigan, and one of the things I did was Googled 1.3 fireworks for my area, and I found a company called Ace Pyro. Okay, they're out of Manchester, Michigan, and coincidentally, they're only about 20 minutes from me. So I talked to some of the individuals there. On their website, they have a section in there about how to get your ATF license, and that's what I followed. It's a very informative page on there. They give you links on how to get your fingerprint cards and everything you need to do. That's all I did. I sent off for my fingerprint cards, just download, went to the link that was on their site, put in a request for it through the internet, and about a week later I got a couple fingerprint cards. The hardest time I had was trying to get fingerprinted, okay? I figured every cop shop can do fingerprints. Well, that's not the case. They may do it for people they arrest, but they don't do it for the public. However, I did find that the local sheriff's department in my area did in fact do that. So I set up an appointment with them and took my fingerprint cards, and they actually fingerprinted me and signed off on the fingerprint form. Once I had that, the next thing I needed to do was to get a 2x2 passport photo. So I just went to CVS Pharmacy. I think I paid $15, and they took the passport photos. I got 2 passport photos that were already 2x2 on there, crystal clear. From there, I had downloaded a copy of the ATF application. I pasted my picture on there, filled out the form. And instead of sending a check for $100, I just put my credit card information on there. So once I had that filled out, I filled out I was going to do contingency storage. Attached my fingerprint card and photo, everything to the application, and mailed it off. I think I mailed that off on February 6th. Okay. On February 26th, I received a call from the local ATF agents out of Detroit. They set up an interview for me for March 1st. Like I said, I did contingency storage, and they said, I see on your application you're going to have Ace Pyro as your contingency. I said yes, and that they would when they come for the interview, they would need a hard copy of the letter stating that. At that time, I asked them, I said that I also had a magazine, Type 4 indoor magazine job box. I converted over, and I would like to have that inspected at the time of the interview. Is that possible? So I had to fill out that part of the ATF application, and I just emailed it to the agent, okay, with all the pertinent information on there. The only thing I did was take some Flex Seal rubber paint, and I painted the inside of the job box with it. Inside the shed that I put it in, I just put some rods through the feet of it into the floor to where they just couldn't carry it off. When they came out for their interview, the first thing they did was check out the job box and asked me why I wanted that if I had contingency storage, and I told them that I was concerned about not all the product going off and circumstances beyond my control that wouldn't allow me to get it back to contingency storage in the proper allotted of time. I didn't want to be in violation of the law. So with the indoor magazine, I can store up to 50 pounds of pyro weight into it, which would be plenty of storage for me to be able to put a little bit of product that didn't go off. During the interview process, they asked me 2 or 3 times why I wanted my license, and I just explained to them that I do 1 shoot a year. It's on the 4th of July. And I wanted to enhance the show a little bit. I wanted to put a little bit of 1.3 product in there and really to give a better grand finale. Another reason why I wanted it is because every year in Michigan, people just don't follow the law. They get drunk and stupid and they start shooting things off all hours of night, well after hours. People talk about repealing the law because they don't follow the rules and people get injured. Well, yeah, there is a lot of injuries, and one particular gentleman put a mortar on his head and they fired it off and it actually killed him. So if they repeal that law with the Type 54 license, I can still do my shoot every year. I will say this, though. When you fill out that application, you need to be as complete as possible on there. If you miss anything on there, it could delay your application and they will ask you why. There were a couple of things I just did not put any information down because it wasn't applicable to me. But when they came out, they asked me about it. So basically put not NA on there or whatever the case may be, and I initialed the areas where they wanted. There was a couple, 3 areas, and that was it. Another thing I did was I made sure that I had a copy of the ATF laws and regulations. I had a hard time finding it. I just Googled it, and somewhere along the line, I found where I could purchase a copy of the book. And mine had a green cover. And when they were starting to pull out the laws, I pulled out my book, and they asked me, "Where'd you get that with a green cover?" I just told them I Googled it and found it somewhere on the internet and bought it. And it was kind of funny because when we checked all the pages and all the law numbers, everything was identical. The only difference was my cover was green, theirs was orange. Every time they pulled out a form, an example form that I needed to have either for the magazine or for the fireworks acquisition, with the manufacturer's information on it, I pulled out my own form out of my own folder that I had. There really isn't any forms that you can download per se on that aspect. They have pictures of forms that have example written across it, and I just did an Excel spreadsheet and made my own. And just, kept adjusting the margins till it printed out and looked exactly like theirs. The interview process was about an hour and a half itself. And at the end of the interview, one of the agents shook my head and he says, out of a lot of the people that we've interviewed, you are one of the best prepared that we've come across. I just did my homework because I didn't want to look like an idiot and I wanted my license. So in short, to get your ATF license, it's extremely easy. You send away for the fingerprint cards, you get fingerprinted, you attach your photo to the application, fill it out, and send $100 with it. That's it. Okay, that is it. You do not have to have any safety classes or any shooting experience whatsoever to get it, which I thought was surprising. I am scheduled to go through some safety courses and classes because I just want to be responsible. They did tell me that they would send in a positive review for me on the application. And once the superior receives that, it takes up to 90 days to get your license. Now, I started this process on February 6th. February 26th, they called and set up the interview. March 1st, they interviewed me. Okay. April 6th, I received my license in the mail. So altogether, it only took 2 months from the time I actually mailed off my application to the time I got my license. If you have any questions, feel free to, just ask me and I'll be more than happy to answer them. The information that I really went by was from acepyro.com, and I'll see if I can't put the links in there that I used to get my license. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.